Hello everybody, my name is Johnny O'Shea, and I was part of Group 3 for this assignment. Our article was titled, Does Correcting Myths About the Flu Vaccine Work? An Experimental Evaluation of the Effects of Corrective Information. A brief summary of the article. The article begins with the brief introduction of the flu, and it describes how many people are not taking the flu vaccine. The article addresses the prevalence of the myths associated with the flu vaccine, and attempts to identify if correcting these myths will change a person's desire to get vaccinated. A nationally representative survey is conducted to identify the extent to which false claims affect someone. In the experiment, there were 3 different groups: the correction group, which debunked the myth that contracted the flu from the vaccine; the danger group, who were exposed to the risk of the flu and given vaccine effectiveness articles; and a control group. They were given nothing. They responded to multiple questions before and after their interventions regarding their opinion on the vaccine and the flu. The article then goes in depth on the results of the study and describes the information that is displayed in the 3 tables it provides. After that, the article discusses its approach to the topic and how it could be modified in the future for more accurate results. And finally, the article concludes that correcting myths about vaccines may not be an effective approach to promoting immunization and vaccination. Some of the quotes I picked, the first one is, however, previous research is in non-medical context suggests that correcting factual misperceptions may be ineffective and can even make false beliefs more prevalent due to people's motivations to defend their prior beliefs. I picked this because I find this quote interesting, as it shows this has been touched on in the past, and the reaction contradicts what I would have expected. It demonstrates how people's beliefs have more influence on them than what hard evidence suggests. My second quote is, approximately a quarter of the sample, 24%, answered they were either extremely concerned, 11%, or very concerned, 13%, about the side effects from vaccines. I picked this because it stuck out to me, as the statistic just surprised me a lot. A quarter of the survey have already had lingering thoughts about the danger with vaccines, and it's much higher than I would have ever guessed. So that's why it stuck out to me. My third quote was, corrective information about the flu vaccine decreased vaccination intent among the high side effect concern groups despite reducing misinterpretation, or misperceptions. What this quote means is that even though the people were made aware of the harms that the flu caused, they actually became less likely to take the flu shot. This kind of shocked me initially, because I would have expected the exact opposite, that when people become educated of the issue, they would be more likely to take initiative. However, in the study, they found quite the counter, and that just surprised me. My fourth quote is, going forward, researchers should further investigate the process that generated the negative response to corrective information about respondents with high side effect concerns. I really like this entire part of the article, not just this quote in general, but it kind of summarizes this entire part. They point out the flaws of their study and suggest for improvement to further validate their hypothesis. The quote just emphasizes what to do differently in the future to make for the best results. I think it was good to include this because it allows further emphasis on this study so we can have a better understanding of it. Alright, the thesis. I think the best statement that summarizes the entire article was located in the conclusion. They say that these results suggest that correcting vaccine myths may not be an effective approach to promoting vaccination. That pretty much sums up everything. The article was attempting to answer the question, does corrective information promote vaccination? And it was describing the results of the survey and applying them to that question specifically. In the end, the authors came to the conclusion that is the thesis. And yeah. Okay. It should be noted that the entire first section of the article could be a more valid thesis. It's more in depth. It describes the reason why the survey was conducted, what for, who was involved, and when. It has all the details. But it was the entire section that created one extended thesis, and I believe the conclusion summed up the same statement in a much more concise manner. So that's why I went with the conclusion in the end of the paper instead of the long one at the beginning. My overall feelings about this paper, I really liked it. It was not what I expected. If someone is informed of dangers associated with something, I would want to avoid it. But this article provides an abundance of information supporting the exact opposite reaction from people. This really surprises me and makes me hope more research will be put into this to further validate the results. The information was provided in a very organized manner that made it easy to follow, and none of the paper got overly complex. So overall, I really liked the paper. I learned quite a bit from this article, actually. Obviously, I learned that people behave differently than I would have thought, but there's more than that. The article brought in other pieces of information to help further its argument. The statistics of the flu at the beginning and its comparison to the previously surveyed MMR vaccines are things I was completely unaware of. Furthermore, I got an experience with APA formatted papers. The way the author provided their information was much better than I would have done. It serves as a great example for what I should do in the future. It was a great article overall that tackled the subject in a great way. And here's the reference.